Hey guys, welcome back to the Super Data Science Podcast. This is 5 Minute Friday, and today we're talking about how to go beyond data. First of all, before we get started, a huge shout out to all of our students from Egypt. I'm in Hurghada right now. It's an amazing place, very exciting country. I've been to the pyramids a couple of times. I'm going for a few scuba dives in the coming week, and very, very excited about Egypt. So a huge shout out if you're from Egypt. Thank you so much for being a student. I know we have at least a couple of thousand students from Egypt. You guys have an amazing country. I was flying here from, it's quite a long flight, several short flights, but like 2 hours each, but overall a long day. So on my flight from, I think, Khartoum to Cairo, I was sitting next to a lady who works, guess where? At World Bank. How cool is that? Because if you've done our courses, you know that we use data from World Bank quite a lot. We use data sets such as different demographics of different countries. We use the overall geopolitical situation or socioeconomical statuses of different countries and regions. For instance, we might get data on access to internet and then cross-tabulate that with data on population and see how those two are interlinked. So we've done quite a few of those things in our courses. And so this lady works at World Bank, and we got to talking about data sets and how she's involved with them and like what data sets she uses in her role. And she mentioned quite an interesting phrase that I actually really liked. And it was, sometimes you need to go beyond the data. And at first I thought, like, why would you go beyond the data if the data can tell you everything, right? Like, everything in our life is data. Like right now, this gust of wind is blowing and some leaves are moving. So this is actually data, but we're not capturing it per se. If we captured it and stored it and analyzed it, we could make use of it. But the fact that we don't capture it doesn't mean it's not there. So basically the point is that everything in the world is actually data. So why would you ever go beyond data? Why would you ever bother with other things apart from data? Well, the thing is, like, if we had all the data in the world, like every single data piece, then we could analyze and extract any insight. However, we don't. And a lot of the time, there are things that are still hidden that we cannot extract by just looking at data. A good example is, even working at World Bank, she was, how does that look? That's good, yeah. She was, sometimes she needs to analyze the data and especially like forecasts for different countries, because she works in the part where they invest into new private projects and help growing companies in Madagascar and Comoros and other countries in the third world to grow. Basically, and so sometimes she needs to analyze the forecast for different countries' developments, GDPs, and so on. And she compares World Bank data to IMF data. IMF is the International Monetary Fund, and they do similar things. Sometimes they also do forecasts or gather data. And sometimes the data matches up, sometimes it doesn't match up. And so what do you do when it doesn't match up? And I'm sure you've had those situations in your career, or you will have those situations in your career when you have data from two sources and they're both valid and relevant, but they don't match up for some reason. What do you do? Well, that's where you need to go beyond the data. You need to go and either talk to the people that came up with these data sets, or that collected them, or that gave them to you, or that made those forecasts, made those predictions, or you need to see like what are the different motivators behind them, what are the different drivers, maybe the analytics that went into those data sets or methodologies are slightly different, and that makes it different. Or maybe the intentions, like motivators, are different, and therefore like these people wanted different results. So you need to understand lots of different factors could have influenced the data, and that's why sometimes, and actually often, you need to go beyond the data. Even when that's not happening, that might be just because you're analyzing one single data set and you're not comparing it to anything, or you don't have anything to compare to. If you did, you would see that there's a discrepancy and that you do need to investigate further. So it's always a good idea to go beyond the data and understand, how did it originate? How did the people collect it? What thoughts went into it? What was the purpose of collecting this data? Is that the exact purpose that you're using for? Or do you need to make adjustments and account for the differences there? So remember that, think about that going beyond data is like a next level skill for a data scientist. Like building a machine learning algorithm, crunching numbers, creating insights. That's all great. That's the essential foundation that you need in this profession. But going beyond data is an extra consideration. Like, you know, what's the difference between a 3-star hotel and a 5-star hotel, or what takes a whole 4-star hotel to a 5-star hotel, where they do that extra care, they give you that extra care, and they look after you a bit more, and they make sure you're happy about everything. Like they're very thoughtful, right? And so going beyond data sometimes is absolutely necessary when you're just put into those circumstances, but sometimes it's a good habit because you want to be thoughtful, you want to take extra care and do your job extra well to make sure that everything matches up and everything adds up, and that you are deriving the right insights. So there you go, that's going beyond data. And I guess this weekend, what I would encourage you to do is look back on your past week, look back on your past month, and see where you didn't go beyond the data, where you just used the data plainly, but you could have had. You could have gone beyond the data and seen what else there is, what are the motivators and drivers behind how this data was created. On that note, hope you have a fantastic weekend, and these are from treetribe.com. Look forward to seeing you back here next time. Until then, happy analyzing.